Hello everyone, good morning. So we are going to talk about affective assessment and portfolio assessment. But first of all, we are going to discuss the different domains of Cratwell's affective taxonomy of learning objectives. So first of all, what is Cratwell's taxonomy? So it is a model that describes how individuals process and internalize learning objects on an affective or emotional level. So we have here 5 levels to the taxonomy. First of all, we have receiving, responding, valuing, organization, and characterization. So receiving, keeping an open mind and differentiating among, accepting, listening to. Another one, we have here responding, committing in some way to an idea by complying with, following, recommending, and participating in. The third one, valuing, it is by actively participating in internalizing an idea. So we have here by developing proficiency in, supporting, debating. The fourth one, we have here organization, integrating a new value with those already held. So we have here to discuss, theorize, formulate, balance, and examine. The last one, we have here characterization. It is by value or value set. It is to act consistently with internalized values. Our next topic is the importance of assessing attitude dimension. But first of all, we are going to define the meaning of attitudes. So attitudes are evaluations people make about objects, ideas, events, or other people. So attitudes can be positive or negative. So researchers study 3 dimensions of attitude. We have here the strength, accessibility, and ambivalence. So attitude strength. Strong attitudes are those that are firmly held and that highly influence behavior. Attitudes that are important to a person tend to be strong. Attitudes that people have a vested interest in also tend to be strong. Furthermore, people tend to have stronger attitudes about things, events, ideas, or people they have considerable knowledge and information about. So next, we have here the attitude accessibility. So the accessibility of an attitude refers to the ease which it comes to mind. In general, highly accessible attitudes tend to be stronger. The last one, we have here the attitude ambivalence. So ambivalence of an attitude refers to the ratio of positive and negative evaluations that make up that attitude. The ambivalence of an attitude increases as the positive and negative evaluations get more and more equal. So, we will now answer the question. So, what is the importance of attitude dimension? So, attitude dimensions are important because it includes attitude summary evaluations of an object that have affective, cognitive, and behavioral components. It is sometimes assumed that having positive feelings, beliefs, and behaviors prevents the occurrence of negative feelings, beliefs, and behaviors. It also helps how you process what life has presented you with. This is a learned behavior that has been cultivated over many lifetimes. Also, attitude does not commence as an outward expression but an inward observation. Therefore, observing your thought is the key to understanding your own attitude towards life. So our next topic is comparing the attitude scales. So we have here the third tone scale, the Likert scale, and the semantic differential. But first of all, we are going to define attitude scale. So attitude scale is a special type of questionnaire designed to produce scores indicating the intensity and direction of a person's feelings about an object or event. It is also a tool prepared for the purpose of measuring people's attitude to an issue. So now, we are going to define the third tone scale. So the third tone scale was the first formal method of measuring attitude both in psychology and sociology. Its origins go back to the early 20th century, where psychologist Louis Leon Thurstone began measuring religious attitudes by asking respondents to agree or disagree with a series of related statements. So the third tone scale measures a respondent's attitude by using a series of agree, disagree statements of various weights. So these statements help determine not only how a respondent feels, but how strongly they feel that way. By measuring attitude with a third tone scale, you can gauge the sentiment or opinion of respondents with greater accuracy. So another type of attitude scale, we have here the Likert scale. So a Likert scale is a type of rating scale used to measure attitudes or opinions. With this scale, respondents are asked to rate items on a level of agreement. For example, we have here 5 choices. We have here strongly agree, agree, neutral, disagree, strongly disagree. So 5 to 7 items are usually used in the scale. The scale doesn't have to state agree or disagree, just like the third-tone scale. Dozens of variations are possible on themes like agreement, frequency, quality, and importance. For example, we have here agreement, strongly agree to strongly disagree. For frequency, we have here often to never. For quality, we have here very good to very bad. For likelihood, we have here definitely to never. For importance, we have here very important to unimportant. So these items are called the Likert scale response anchors. So that is for our Likert scale. Another type is the semantic differential scale. So the semantic differential scale measures the connotative meaning of things. For example, while the word heart is defined as the organ that pumps blood around the body, its connotative meaning is love or heartache. So the scale is used in surveys to gauge people's feeling towards a particular subject. So semantic scale is very subjective on the user's part. Plus, there's no neutral answer, which makes it difficult to quantify. You can pinpoint direct metrics with this type of scale. For example, you couldn't find out if on-hold wait times are less than 5 minutes. You can only ask how the respondents feel about wait times, acceptable or not acceptable. A potential benefit of the semantic differential scale is that the user is really only posed with 2 options that are opposites. For example, boring and interesting, unnecessary and necessary. So that is for our attitude scales. So our last topic is the essential concepts in portfolio assessment. So we are going to define first what is portfolio assessment. So portfolio assessment is a term with many meanings, and it is a process that can serve a variety of purposes. A portfolio is a collection of student work that can exhibit a student's efforts, progress, and achievements in various areas of the curriculum. A portfolio assessment can be an examination of student-selected samples of work experiences and documents related to outcomes being assessed, and it can address and support progress toward achieving academic goals, including student efficacy. So we have here the types of portfolios. While portfolios have broad potential and can be useful for the assessments of students' performance for a variety of purposes in core curriculum areas, the contents and criteria used to assess portfolios must be designed to serve those purposes. For example, we have here showcase portfolios. They exhibit the best of student performance, while the working portfolios may contain drafts that students and teachers use to reflect on process. So another one, we have here the progress portfolios. It contains multiple examples of the same type of work done over time and are used to assess progress. If cognitive processes are intended for assessment, content and rubrics must be designed to capture those processes. So the portfolio assessment can provide both formative and summative opportunities for monitoring progress toward reaching identified outcomes. By setting criteria for content and outcomes, portfolios can communicate concrete information about what is expected of students in terms of the content and quality of performance in specific curriculum areas, while also providing a way of assessing their progress along the way. Depending on content and criteria, portfolios can provide teachers and researchers with information relevant to the cognitive processes that students use to achieve the academic outcomes. So, we will now go to the use of portfolios. So, the use of portfolio provides the students with the opportunities to become more reflective about their own work, while demonstrating their abilities to learn and achieve in academics. So, for example, some feel it is important for teachers and students to work together to prioritize the criteria that will be used as a basis for assessing and evaluating student progress. During the instructional process, students and teachers work together to identify significant pieces of work and the processes required for the portfolio. As students develop their portfolio, they are able to receive feedback from peers and teachers about their work. Because of the greater amount of time required for portfolio projects, there is a greater opportunity for introspection and collaborative reflection. This allows students to reflect and report about their own thinking processes as they monitor their own comprehension and observe the emerging understanding of subjects and skills. The portfolio process is dynamic and is affected by the interaction between students and teachers. So, portfolio assessments can also serve as the summative assessment purposes in the classroom, serving as the basis for letter grades.